Chapter 17. Rahim Khan slowly uncrossed his legs and leaned against the bare wall in the very deliberate way of a man whose every movement triggers spikes of pain. Outside, a donkey was braying and someone was shouting something in Urdu. The sun was beginning to set, glittering red through the cracks between the ramshackle buildings. It hit me again, the enormity of what I had done the winter and that following summer. The names rang in my head: Hassan, Sohrab, Ali, Farzana, and Sanwar. Hearing Rahim Khan speak Ali's name was like finding an old dusty music box that hadn't been opened in years. The melody began to play immediately. Who did you eat today, Babalu? Who did you eat? You slant-eyed Babalu. I tried to conjure Ali's frozen face, to really see his tranquil eyes, but time can be a greedy thing. Sometimes it steals all the details for itself. Is Hassan still in that house now? I asked. Rahim Khan raised the teacup to his parched lips and took a sip. He then fished an envelope from the breast pocket of his vest and handed it to me. For you. I tore the sealed envelope. Inside, I found a Polaroid photograph and a folded letter. I stared at the photograph for a full minute. A tall man dressed in a white turban and a green striped chaperon stood with a little boy in front of a set of wrought iron gates. Sunlight slanted in from the left, casting a shadow on half of his rotund face. He was squinting and smiling at the camera, showing a pair of missing front teeth. Even in this blurry Polaroid, the man in the chaperon exuded a sense of self-assuredness, of ease. It was in the way he stood, his feet slightly apart, his arms comfortably crossed on his chest, his head a little toward the sun. Mostly it was in the way he smiled. Looking at the photo, one might have concluded that this was a man who thought the world had been good to him. Rahim Khan was right. I would have recognized him, and if I had bumped into him on the street. The little boy stood barefoot, one arm wrapped around the man's thigh, his shaved head resting against his father's hip. He too was grinning and squinting. I unfolded the letter. It was written in Farsi. No dots were omitted, no crosses forgotten, no words blurred. Together, the handwriting was almost childlike in its neatness. I began to read. In the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, Amir Aga, with the deepest respects, Farzana Jan Sohrab, and I pray that this latest letter finds you in good health, and in the light of Allah's God graces. Please offer me warmest thanks to Rahim Khan Saif for carrying it to you. I'm hopeful that one day I will hold one of your letters in my hands and read of your life in America. Perhaps a photograph of you will even grace our eyes. I have told much about you to Farzana Jan and Sobra, about us growing up together and playing games and running in the streets. The laugh of the stories of all the mischief you and I used to cause. Amiraga, alas, the Afghanistan of our youth is long dead. Kindness is gone from the land, and you cannot escape the killings. Always the killings. In Kabul, fear is everywhere, in the streets, in the stadium, in the markets. It is a part of our lives here, Amiraga. The savages who rule our Watson don't care about human decency. The other day, I accompanied Farzana Jan to the bazaar to buy some potatoes and naan. She asked the vendor how much the potatoes cost, but he did not hear her. I think he had a deaf ear. So she asked louder, and suddenly a young Talib ran over and hit her on the thighs with his wooden stick. He struck her so hard she fell down. He was screaming at her, cursing and saying the Ministry of Vice and Virtue does not allow women to speak loudly. She had a large purple bruise on her legs for days, but what could I do except stand and watch my wife get beaten? If I fought that dog would have surely put a bullet in me, and gladly. Then what will happen to my Sohrab? The streets are full and out already of hungry orphans, and every day I thank Allah that I'm alive, not because I fear death, but because my wife has a husband and my son is not an orphan. I wish you could see Sohrab. He's a good boy, Rahim Khan Saif, and I have taught him to read and write, so he does not grow up stupid like his father. And can he shoot with that line shot? I take Sohrab around Kabul sometimes and buy him candy. There is still a monkey man and Sherry. No. And if we run into him, I pay him to make his monkey dance for Sohrab. You should see how he laughs. The two of us often walk up to the cemetery of the hill. Do you remember how we used to sit under the pomegranate tree there and read from the sonoma? The drafts have dried the hill and the tree hasn't borne fruit in years, but Sohrab and I still sit under its shade, and I read to him from the sonoma. It is not necessary to tell you that his favorite part is the one with the namesake, Rostam and Sohrab. Soon he will be able to read it from the book himself. I am a very proud and very lucky father. Amiraga, Rahim Khan Saif is quite ill. He coughs all day and I see blood on his sleeve when he wipes his mouth. He has lost much weight, and I wish he would eat a little of the shorwa and rice that Farzana Jan cooks for him, but he only takes a bite or two, and even that I think is out of courtesy to Farzana Jan. I am so worried about this dear man. I pray for him every day. He's leaving for Pakistan in a few days to consult some doctors there, and inshallah, he will return with good news. But in my heart, I fear from him. Farzana Jan and I have told little Sohrab that Rahim Khan Saif is going to be well. What can we do? He is only 10 and he adores Rahim Khan Saif. They have grown so close to each other. Rahim Khan Saif used to take him to the bazaar for balloons and biscuits, but he is too weak for that now. I have been dreaming a lot lately, Amiraga. Some of them are nightmares, like hanged corpses rotting in soccer fields with blood-red grass. I wake up from those short of breath and sweaty. Mostly thought I dream of good things, and praise Allah for that. I dream that Rahim Khan Saif will be well. I dream that my son will grow up to be a good person, a free person, and an important person. I dream that Lala flowers will bloom in the streets of Kabul again, and rhubarb music will play in some of our houses and kites will fly in the skies. And I dream that someday you will return to Kabul to revisit the land of our childhood. If you do, you will find an old faithful friend waiting for you. May Allah be with you always, Hassan. I read the letter twice. I folded the note and looked at the photograph for another minute. I pocketed both. "Who is he?" I asked. That letter was written 6 months ago, a few days before I left for Peshawar, Rahim Khan said. I took the Polaroid the day before I left. A month later, I arrived in Peshawar. I received a telephone call from one of my neighbors of Kabul. He told me this story. Soon after I took my leave, a rumor spread that a Hazara family was living alone in the big house of Wazir Akbar Khan, or so the Taliban claimed. A pair of Talib officials came to investigate and interrogated Hassan. They accused him of lying when Hassan told them he was living with me, even though many of the neighbors, including the one who called me, supported Hassan's story. The Talibs said he was a liar and a thief, like all Hazaras, and ordered him to get his family out of the house by sundown. Hassan protested, but my neighbors say the Talibs were looking at the big house like, how did he say it? Yes, like wolves looking at a flock of sheep. They told Hassan they would be moving in to supposedly keep it safe until I return. Hassan protested again. So they took him to the street. No, I breathed and ordered him to kneel. No, God, no. And shoot him in the back of the head. No. Farzana came screaming and attacked them. No. Shot her too, self-defense, they claimed later. But all I could manage was to whisper, no, 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 over and over again.